Number 56, busy. When I was a pretty new nurse, I was working with my preceptor, and it was about all I could do to keep up with her. One day, the two of us had a 3-bed assignment, and the rooms were traditionally for the sickest of the medical patients. I don't think we saw anything that was amazing, but it seemed like anything that could kill you, we saw that day. I'll just give you a little rundown. Of course, the patients overlap. Room 1, an older man having a stroke. He had his family with him. We did the stroke workup and gave him the appropriate medicines. He had a neurology consult and was accepted by them and taken quickly to pre-op. Room 2, a gentleman who had a terrible cough and fever. A chest x-ray confirmed pneumonia. We gave him the right starting antibiotics and a breathing treatment, and he was admitted and somehow got a bed upstairs fast. Room 3, a lady with colon cancer that had nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea after her chemotherapy treatment. After everything that had been coming out of her, she was getting dehydrated and her blood pressure was quite low. She was treated with fluids and admitted and got a room upstairs. Room 1, a man having terrible chest pain. His pain only went up a little bit for a second when he got IV access. All his labs and his physical exam pointed to him having a heart attack. The cardiologist came in, agreed, and took him to the cath lab. Room 3. This man had bloody diarrhea. I tried to think of a nicer way to say it, but there isn't a nice way to say it. It stinks to high heaven. He had a GI bleed. We had a commode in the room. He insisted on it, and he put a lot of blood in it. He lay down, and he was really pale. Thankfully, he was admitted pretty quickly, and we got him upstairs. Room 1, a lady with a horrible headache that was of sudden onset and made her vomit. She was sent for a CT scan, and it showed a subarachnoid hemorrhage. She was admitted to the neurology floor straight away and started on medication. Room 2, a gentleman with difficulty breathing that seemed to have a quick onset. The resident went right in and sent him for a specific CT scan. He was right. The patient had a pulmonary embolism. We started medicines and he was admitted. Room 3, a pretty young guy employed as a tree trimmer. He got himself into a ton of bees up in the branches. I don't know how many stings he sustained, but I do know that he had a stinger sticking out of his eyelid. Some of the stingers that were stuck in his face were still wriggling. Luckily, he wasn't allergic to bee stings. He got a bunch of medicine to prevent any reaction. Room 2. This guy had been spreading concrete in an enclosed space. He had inhaled the fumes of all the chemicals and didn't look good. Room 3. This was a little Vietnamese guy that had pain in his shoulder and a headache. His blood pressure was quite high. He hardly spoke any English at all. It was pretty hard to communicate with him. Luckily, the attending doctor was on the ball. He had a CT scan and he had a dissecting AAA. He went to the OR emergently. None of these cases were particularly hard or special, but it does show what can happen with the right staffing, and when people get the treatment that they need. Any one of those people could have died waiting for the treatment.